I want to start with a question that may seem odd, but it's for the benefit of our viewers. If you had a minute, if you got in an elevator and you had 1 minute based on all your experience and all your work studying Islamic history and ideology, and you had that 1 minute ride in an elevator and you had one person with you in there, what is it that you'd want to tell them about what you've learned, what you've studied, what you think?
I'd want to tell them, I guess, what I assume they don't know. And I'm also assuming they're non-Muslims. And I think I'd want them to know that this particular religion is unlike other religions. It's very political. It's very, in a word, tribal. It's us against them. You, as a non-believer, are a de facto enemy. And how they approach you as the enemy, there's different categories, different levels, but none of it is anything near or remote to what Western, standards of religious freedom approximate. So basically, it could be from fighting you to killing you to enslaving you to now's not the time and we can be your friend and smile in your face, but we have to do it later. And that's just, in a nutshell, that's the doctrine, that's the history, that's the current situation of Islam, despite what everyone says, mostly non-Muslims actually.
So, I want to expand on that if I could. I guess my question that I was about to ask.
Yeah, that's just the 1 minute, really short kind of. It obviously
exactly. No, we already got to the 30th floor in that elevator ride. So, but I want to now we're off the elevator. I want to talk some more about this. But I was going to ask you a question that, but I want to caveat it first, and then you'll understand why when I ask the question. Is that other religions, not just Islam, but you look at Christianity, right? There've been a lot of wars fought in the name of a Christian God, right? And a lot of violence that's been perpetrated in the name of that religion. So, is it that there is more within Islam, that it's more prone to violence because of its doctrine and beliefs, or you see what I'm saying? I'm struggling to answer or to ask the question here. Yeah,
I understand. The point you're raising has been raised countless times. That's one of the main responses. I would argue that Christianity, there's been wars in the name of Christianity. And, when you say that, immediately everyone, I think, is thinking of Crusades. And we need to actually talk directly about that because that's the opposite case. It was a defensive war. But overall, the ultimate point that I'm trying to say is, I'm not interested if a person today goes and shoots up a mosque and says, I'm doing it for Jesus. What I'm interested in is, can they actually trace it doctrinally and justify it? And the bottom line is, a Christian can't justify it. Muslims can, because Islam, the Prophet, all the jurists, and it's too long to get into the jurisprudence of Islam, but they're all agreed to what I had said, which is that the kafir, the infidel, the non-Muslim, is the de facto enemy who must, one way or another, be fought, subjugated. It's all over in the Quran. It's all over in their, again, we can get into their technical names, the hadith and the tafsir, etc. So it's all part of the religion. So to me, that's very much different than saying a Buddhist decides to blow himself up and kill people, and he screams Buddha. Yeah, he can do that, but that doesn't. He can't really justify it. And the same with Christianity, whereas Islam abundantly justifies it. And as far as the Crusades, because I think what you had just said, which is there's been violence and war in the name of Jesus and Christ, and that's usually the Crusades. But those are so much misunderstood that so much of my life work has become correcting them, so people understand exactly what the Crusades were, which is they were completely defensive. These were defensive wars. So the best you can say is that they accorded with just war theory, which was and should still be a Christian thing, at least in the pre-modern medieval era. Just war was taken for granted. You can always fight if it's in defense. And the Crusaders were actually defending and trying to liberate formerly conquered Christian regions, which is the entire Middle East and the Holy Land, of course, and the persecution of Christians. So again, even the Crusades, which is sort of the creme de la creme of an example of evil Christians misusing Christ's name, was perfectly done in accordance with just war, and it's nowhere near what we're talking about. which is the sort of offensive war, jihadist imperative, which is part and parcel of Islam.
So the wording that's developed over the recent times, and recent times, I'd go back to, as a convenient point, let's go to 9/11, right? But typically you get these phrases: radical Islamists, radical Islamic group, right? And whether they're referring to Al Qaeda or Islamic Jihad or whomever, ISIS. So is that a misnomer? Is that it's not so much that they're radical; they're following early doctrine or ideology?
Yeah, I on the one hand, I agree there needs to be a distinction that we can't just like label every single Muslim under one thing. On the other hand, I don't think the current distinction, moderate and radical, does it justice, because it doesn't make sense. It implies the correct way to look at it is the observant Muslim is a radical. And a moderate Muslim, what we call a moderate Muslim, is essentially a lackadaisical, indifferent Muslim who's living according to 21st century lifestyle, and whatever parts of Islam fit, he'll allow them, and whichever parts don't fit, he won't necessarily allow them. So I think that is happening in the world, and it wouldn't be correct to say every single Muslim believes in jihad, just like it wouldn't be correct to say every single Christian believes in any particular Christian tenet. So yeah, the distinction is necessary, but it's also what's wrong with the distinction is they're implying that the guys who do the jihad are somehow not following correct Islam, and that's false. They are following correct doctrinal historic Islam. They're following it more than the moderate Muslim is. More's the pity. But so that's the distinction.
Okay, I think that's really interesting, and the point that you make, I think, is probably universally understood, which is that regardless of the religion, you always have the element that's zealous, right? That follows and believes to the core
Right.
the whatever the doctrine of that religion is, and then you got the majority who pick and choose for convenience purposes, what to do, what to follow, what to believe. I guess I fall in the latter category. Yeah.
And the interesting, I think, thing about this is, if I may just end it, because I think you'll like this particular aspect. But when you look at a fundamental Christian, they're the opposite of a Muslim. They're supposed to be kind and turning, friendly and loving, and that's because they're following the scriptures so closely. But when the Muslims follow their scriptures so closely, and most Westerners don't know that, but their scriptures are full of pure intolerance, pure violence, pure what we would call today toxic masculinity, patriarchy, misogyny. All of that is in there. So if your life is all about trying to emulate what's written, the way, let's say, a Christian is trying to follow the Bible, it's ironic because you're going to have antithetical results which reflect the antithetical nature of the two scriptures.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.